Hi guys, and welcome to a brand new video. I am at Whilton Mill, and as you can see, it's a little bit wet, it's a bit spitty. You wouldn't have guessed it, but it is June in the UK, and I'm here for the Karun Karting Festival. That is the one and only Karun Chandhok, Formula 1 driver, current F1 pundit. So, got invited to race, and I thought, well, I might as well come along and see if we can win the whole thing. Alright, so we're all set up with a lovely gazebo. I've got a hat, I've got a jacket, I've got a t-shirt as well. I should probably keep my face in the camera, spotter in the gazebo. So now we just have to wait for our driver's briefing and stuff. We've got about half an hour or something, time to chill, grab some food, making sure radios are all working, all of that kind of stuff. And then we'll be jumping in. Cuba's going to be rapid, wet, and yeah, that's it. Also, I forgot my iridium visor because I'm a moron.
Lots of familiar faces, lots of youth come back.
Right, driver's briefing finished, so it's time to get the helmet on, jump out for practice, put in some laps, and then race time. Here we go then for qualifying, and this is now post-event me talking. Hello, assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome to the video. I hope you are enjoying it so far. I thought I'd include this opening lap of my qualifying session because this is the first time I've ever driven a Whilton Mill 4-stroke car, so I thought it'd be good to show how I was driving it at the start compared to how I was driving it come the end. And you can already see it having a bit of a moment with the rear end. That was mainly just because I think the tyres were cold, but this is all part of the learning experience, and how quickly you can learn the car is how quickly you can put in a good lap. This was a practice qualifying session, so these laps were technically part of qualifying, and I was consistently running at the front end of quali around that pole position spot. We go a little bit wide through that left-hander. And now we're going into the new part of Whilton Mill, something that I'd never driven at before. I'd seen pictures of it, I've seen people racing it, but I've never driven on this. So let's see how I do it on my first take of it. Nope, we absolutely missed the apex. To be fair though, this car did have a sticky throttle, so when I went on the brake, it did still keep on going forward, which was a bit of an issue. However, towards the end of qualifying, I did something really dumb. I put my head down, but when I lifted my head up, the camera caught the steering wheel, which changed the camera angle, making the rest of my footage useless. I did end the first half of qualifying with our team CI Group 1 on pole, but we then made a few mistakes which did cost us. So, I've done my first half of qualifying. It's a 30-minute qualifying session. I did the first 12 minutes now, Lee's out there. Really struggling through the final sequence, the new introduction at Whilton Mill. Throttle was sticking a tiny bit, so you go on the brakes into that section because you have to slow it right down, but it will just keep going, which was making the exit really tough. But my final lap felt good, so I said, right, I'm going to put in this lap, couple of laps in clear air, and then pit, got the lap, provisional pole as well by like 7/100ths of a second. So Lee's out there now, but he's absolutely rapid, so he might improve on my time. But hopefully, starting on pole for the race, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to take a quick break, and then see how the end of qualifying pans out. Alright, so qualifying's done, P6, P7, the track was drying up. We tried to get both of our drivers out on the same bit of tarmac, but we ended up losing a bit too much time trying to find that space, so compromised us. So getting ready for my stint, and we'll see how it goes. So here we go, we are getting ready for our first stint. Now unfortunately, Lee got caught up behind a back marker coming into the pit, so that compromised us. I tried to go as early into the pit lane as possible so he wouldn't be stuck behind them, but straight into the car, straight onto the throttle pedal. We almost jumped this guy. You can see how much time we gained on him because we're fully on the throttle, and out of the pits we come. And we've come out in front of those two other cars. I want to get past this 27 as quickly as possible. I can get alongside, and then I'm going to use the old bum shuffle forward, less air resistance, and we're able to sneak past him on the straight. I thought, you know, for the rest of this race, I'll just include clips of me overtaking people, because that way it's a nice little ego boost, and it shows you guys as well how to do some overtakes at what is an absolutely lovely circuit that is Whilton Mill. And we're slowly learning how to take this sequence of corners, and we're able to go up the inside, get the move done. A little old Mike Coppin overtake. That's what I'm going to call that overtake, the Mike Coppin overtake from the Tillotson P4 race. And then this guy comes out of the bits right in front of me and compromises me. I am trying to hunt down Andrew Tyrell, who I used to race with in Club 100 in the Endurance Championship, or Race Against I should say. We get a good run coming out of Oziers, I think it is. We're able to pull out the slipstream, and up the inside we go to take another position. This guy I think is going to have a moment into Ashby Corner. You can see he goes wide, he corrects himself too much, we get a way better exit, and we're completely ahead. But then I do understeer massively. There was very little grip if you were off the racing line in these corporate karts. Again, you can see how much we catch up to this driver in front through the final sequence of corners. We get a better exit. I think he must have a bit of a dud car or be much heavier than me. There was no weight limit for this event, so I weigh about 79 kilos with karting kits. So if anyone weighs over 85 kilos, I'm going to gain on them massively. If anyone weighs under about 73 kilos, they're going to gain on me. That guy has a massive moment. I thought he might spin in front of me. I go to the outside. That means I get to take the racing line through the left-hander rather than have to compromise myself by going up the inside. This is another driver we're catching up. Again, we're going to get a really nice run through this left-hander, and my favourite overtake at Whilton now, up the inside into Oziers. It's such a beautiful overtake. You can do it from really far back as well. I love that move to absolute bits and a half. And this is how much we can catch up to a back marker through a flat-out corner. We get a beautiful run, and that speed carries all the way up straight into Christmas Corner, where we are able to complete the move. So we've shown a few different overtakes here. We've shown overtaking to Christmas, we've shown overtaking to Oziers, down the hill into Ashby. We've shown an overtake through here. We can't overtake this guy through this sequence of corners. We're going to let him go in hot. I missed the corner, but I still get a much better exit, and I think this is just kart performance. We've got a better car, or he's got a worse car. I go up the inside, I go into the right, but he sticks his nose up the inside, and I don't know, I'll let you guys let me know in the comments below, but I don't think that was on from him. I think he had to yield the place because he wasn't alongside me, he was just poking his nose up the inside, which I think is just a very silly thing to do. But if you think I was at fault, let me know down in the comments, and I will respond by letting you know that I think you're wrong. I'm joking. I'm joking. Genuinely, if you think I was wrong there, do let me know. This is another driver we're catching. We carry so much more speed through Christmas, and we carry speed critically down the hill because we keep our car much smoother. We pull out of the slipstream, and it's a nice, easy overtake up the inside into Ashby Corner. So we've pretty much now overtaken everywhere on circuit. I might have to do a video how to overtake at every corner at Whilton Mill. I think that'd be fun. This driver lets us through, but I'm going to count it as an overtake regardless. I guess all that's left is we've got to do an overtake at turn 2 at Whilton. This guy's having some issue with his engine. You can see how much time we gain, and he lets us through. I then get compromised into this corner. I make a bad exit, and he's then right on me. Now, when I went for the move, I didn't think he'd try to fight back, which is why I took the corner as I did. He then goes up my inside. I'm like, bro, like, I was catching you. You let me through, and now you've overtaken me like this. What was the point? And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll just overtake you properly then, if that's how you want to play it. And this is why I don't think I've got a great kart. I don't think this is a rocket, because coming out of that corner, I get a much better run. I pull out of the toe, and you can see I'm not really gaining on this guy. So this guy alongside me has as good of a kart as I do, at least on the straight, so I don't think I had anything amazing. This lap, right, this was going to be my first lap in the 59s. I'd done loads of 60.1, 60.2s, but through the final corner, I couldn't let the car out because he was in the way. I tried to hold it tight. It compromised me, and that ended up being a 60.2. So I could have got into the 59s, or maybe that was 60.4. I could have got in the 59s, but it sadly got ruined. And then on the final lap, this was also looking to be a really good lap, and maybe also a 59. But there was a yellow flag, which I actually didn't see until the last second, and then there were tyre barriers in the way. So that was another 59 down the drain. But we take the checkered flag, we take the race win, we win Heat 1, and all that's left now is to win the finals. So, race number 1 done. We managed to win some insanely quick stops, and that got us out to the front, and then just put in quick times, fast lap of the race as well. So now we're going to get ready to go out for race 2. It is spitting with rain, so it's going to be a really hectic start. Yeah, no pressure with changeable conditions. We've not had any wet running. It's going to be really hectic if it does rain. I kind of want it to, like, in the dry, I've got the pace. So part of me wants it to be dry, but changeable conditions would be really fun, but we'll see how it goes. As you can see, it is not raining. It has dried up. The spits have ended. It is green, and we are underway. We get a really good reaction to the lights, and we will make our way through the opening couple of the corners completely at the front. The guys behind started battling a little bit, and apparently I've been told, I don't know because I didn't see, at the end of this lap, I was 4 seconds ahead of second place. That's a pretty good opening lap, not going to lie. This lap isn't the cleanest. Again, tyres are cold, so there's a few points where I'll go into a corner, not have as much grip as I expected, or I'll back off too much, etc., which is what happened in Christmas. I slightly messed it up. Even through here, I go way too wide. That cost, like, this lap could have easily been a 63.8. But again, it's the first lap, so it's just about putting in a consistent lap, not making too many mistakes. The other thing is, this is a different kart, so I had to learn how this kart behaved, and it behaved completely differently to the kart I had in the first race. So yeah, I thought though I would include essentially the first 10 minutes of racing, or the first 12 minutes of this race, and just show you how consistent I can be. And for those people who have a race at Whilton Mill coming up, or who are at this event, just show you how to put in some quick consistent laps and what a good set of lap times looks like. This lap is 61.0. Again, I was still kind of learning how this kart behaved. The previous kart I had, you had to turn it a lot using the brakes because it was understeering like crazy. This kart had much better front end, so I had to do less turning under braking, and I could drive it more like a normal go-kart, and as a result, this kart was faster. As I mentioned as well in the previous race, I almost got under a 60.0. So I had a 60.2, which was the fastest lap of the race. But I desperately wanted to get a 59. So that was my goal for this race. And our first kind of representative lap time is a 60.6. But again, I'm still learning the car, and you'll see as well come the end of these set of laps how differently I'm driving the car, and you'll be able to hear it in the engine. Again, I'm taking Christmas much better now. Down the hill, again, use all of this curb through, I think it's Inkman's, and then late on the brakes down into Ashby. But again, I'm just struggling just to get the kart rotated, because this car wouldn't rotate as much on the brakes as the previous car. I had to do it more beforehand, and it's just a case of learning the car, making those small micro adjustments to your driving style to suit the new vehicle you're driving, right? And that's one of the big things with rental karting. Even if it's not rental karting, even if it's your own car, you have to set up your car. You've got to understand the changes that you've made to the car and adjust your driving to suit it. One of the things that I am doing, which some people probably wanted to flame me for when I made my video on how to drive beginner's guide to karting, is to accelerate before the apex of the corner. Have a look at my pedals. I'll go on the brakes, but I'll be fully back on the throttle before I get to the apex of the corner. And this is something I personally like to do in 4 strokes, because it just means you carry more speed through the corner. You're already on the power, the clutch is engaged. It means you'll get a much better exit. Even down into that right hander we went through. Again, look at my footwork. You'll see when I'm on that throttle, and I always try to be on the throttle by the time I'm at the apex of the corner, because that's the best way to carry speed through. If you're doing 2 strokes, maybe you'll brake a little bit deeper into the corner, and you can get on the power later. But for 4 strokes, at the very least, always want to be on the power super early. This lap's been much better. It's a 60.4, but again, a little bit sketchy through that final sequence of corners. So we can go a bit quicker, and that's exactly what we do. This time, 60.3, completely flat through the opening couple of corners. Let the kart out. Don't hold the steering tight for too long. And then on the brakes, not quite right through Christmas. You'll see on a good lap what the run through Christmas Corner looks like. And again, down the hill, late on the brakes down into Ashby, get the steering done before the corner, or as much as you can, and you can use up all of that track on a corner exit. Carry the speed through the left-hander. Really important to open up the steering so that the kart doesn't bog down and doesn't judder about. And now into the final sequence. Again, late on the brakes, using up all of that curb, and then get a lovely run through this long right-hander before jumping on the brakes, getting the front turned in, clipping both of the curbs. And we couldn't use a rumble strip on corner exit. That would have been track limits. That's one place where we weren't allowed to really run wide. And now another 60.5. So we've just been doing 60.3, 60.4, 60.5. Again, consistently lapping in these mid to low 60 seconds. Again, a nice run through Christmas. And that's all you have to do in these endurance races. It's consistently put in the lap times. And that's what I was doing. I had the radios on, and I knew that I was building out a gap to the guys behind. So I was about 6-7 seconds ahead at this point. But I also wanted to improve, right? It wasn't enough for me to win and have a big margin. I wanted to get faster and faster. I wanted to get into the 59s, but I'm not going to go crazy. I'm slowly amping up the pace. I'm slowly trying to improve my lap times. We run wide, so that's completely messing up this sequence of corners, which costs us a couple of tenths. But now I started to find a little bit more time. I was starting to get into a groove. A 60.1, that is much better. This is the fastest lap that I've done so far of the day. Apologies. Again, nice and late on the brakes into Christmas Corner, back on the power as early as possible. I do improve on how I take that right-hander, use up all the curb down the hill, and again, watch my feet on the brakes, back on the throttle before I even get to the curb. So important. I can't stress that enough, to get on the power really early. You don't need to use the curb through the left, but use up all of the circuit on the left, and then it's just about being gentle through that left-hander. One other thing that people don't realize is you can be aggressive with the steering going into a corner, but once you get to the apex, you need to make sure that your steering wheel is nice and smooth. The exit, it's so important to be smooth. Going into a corner, you can be aggressive, but you need to make sure you are silky smooth coming out. And again, another 60.1. So we've done now, or we're about to do, 2 60.1s back to back. So I was really starting to find my feet. I was starting to find my pace, and I was going about half a second a lap quicker than anyone else on circuit at this point. Again, the kart was really good. I don't know how much of a rocket ship it was. I don't think it was a ridiculous kart, but it was certainly a good kart. On the brakes, again, you can see me being a little bit aggressive on the brakes, a bit aggressive on the steering, but once we get to the apex, it's back on the power, no mistakes, using a little bit of curve through the left, but make sure that the kart doesn't bog down. You'll hear it when these karts bog down because they'll judder, it'll feel really bouncy. If the kart bounces, that means you're losing time and you're carrying too much speed, or your steering wheel is being held too tight. We're now using so much more curve going into this sequence of corners, which is why we're finding time on the brakes, get the kart rotated, and get on the power as early as possible. So 2 60.1s, and now we're going to do a 60.2. So again, that consistency is there. 3 laps separated by less than a tenth of a second. This is what you need for endurance races. And when I was hearing these laps, I was thinking, okay, this is really good. This is the kind of pace that I need. But I was also thinking, and I was saying this over the radio, I really want to get that 59.9 because I'm so tantalizingly close. I'm just over a tenth away from achieving that 59, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm not thinking, right, I need to go faster to get it. I'm just thinking, I need to keep doing this, but I need to be smoother. I need to be that tiny bit better. So I'm just pushing it ever so slightly, not by a huge amount. I'm trying to stay consistent, and I know if I stay consistent and put in consistent lap times, eventually I will, hook up that perfect lap. I'll get that 59. And it's rewarding us because we're consistently doing these low 60s, and there's another 60.1. And I kept hearing these times, and I kept thinking, I'm so close. I've done 4 laps within a tenth of each other, 60.1s and 60.2s. What do I need to do to get that 59. And I knew I just need to keep doing the same thing, but just iron out those tiny mistakes. You know, just open up that steering wheel a little bit more. Get on the power that fraction earlier. And that's all you can do. You can't chase the time. You just have to be consistent. And to be honest, these laps felt so incredibly good. But I do find more time. And when you find more time, it then makes... I've done 4 laps of 60.1, 60.2, which felt insane. But then if you find more time, you then think, oh, those previous laps were rubbish. Why was I only doing a 60.1, 60.2? And that's exactly what happens, because this next lap is not a 59.9, it's a 59.7. We gained 4/10 of a second. I don't know how. I don't know where these 4/10 came from, but listen to the engine into the corners. We're on the brakes for a tiny period of time and then straight back on to the throttle. It's really smooth. Again, here, have a listen. You can hear how early we're getting onto the throttle well before the apex. And maybe that's why this lap was so good. A little play with the steering wheel to scrub off some speed going into the left-hander. In this one, again, it's smooth, it's clean, it's beautiful. And now just a couple of corners remaining to hook up this lap. All of the curb through the left and then flat out through this right hand. Again, keep it nice and smooth. Using up the curb, get the kart rotated on the power, nice and smooth. Job done at 59.7. I did 3 59.7s in this race, but I don't want to show any more lap times because I think I've shown, you know, a nice, good stint. So that was my stint, and moving ahead by about 10 or so laps, I'm now about to pit. So, well, I do need to adjust the seat positioning, though, as I almost go into the tyre barriers because I was fiddling around with the seat. I needed to move the seat a bit further forward. This time we are bombing it into the pit lane, and we are almost catching up to the back of the blue suit driver. A tiny gap where we get the kart stopped. We're going to jump out so that Lee can jump in. Out Lee goes, and that is how you do a very quick pit stop. And that is us done for the race. We've built a 30-second lead over 20 minutes. So, the race, my stint is done. Very thirsty. Did the first 20 minutes, it's a 45-minute race. Really quick. Managed to go about half a second quicker than I did in the previous race. I was going about a second a lap quicker than anyone else consistently. So, yeah, pace was mega. I think we pitted with nearly a 30-second lead to second. In 20 minutes, we pulled 20 to 30 seconds. Absolutely ridiculous. So, Lee just has to bring this one home. Pit stops have been excellent, so we've probably pulled another 10, 15 seconds in the pits. We've done all of our stops, and we're only about 5 seconds behind the leader now, who still has a couple of stops to go. So, yeah, we might be able to lap everyone. We'll see. But yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Yes! We have taken the win. I'm back at home. This is actually a day after the race, but I completely forgot to record this yesterday. So, yeah, we got a nice little trophy. Not too shabby. It's actually quite nice. So that can go up next to some of the other ones. Yeah, overall pretty good day. Got very lucky with the kart. Well, maybe not very lucky with the karts. First heat kart was okay. I don't think it was anything special. Nothing terrible. Why? Is it the hat? It's the hat messing up the lighting. Sorry, Gareth. I've got to take the hat off. Yeah, first heat kart was okay. We did the job that we had to. Some really good pit stops. Second race, really good kart. I don't know if it was a rocket. Again, I didn't really have anyone around me that I could compare to, so I've looked at the footage back. It did definitely look quick, but at the same time, there were some other drivers that I had a drag race with going up the straights, and I didn't seem that much quicker. So maybe they also had rockets, but I think we just drove it really well and put in a good result. So yeah, 2 heat wins. We're continuing our streak of race wins in June. I'm quite enjoying it. I'm definitely enjoying it at the moment. So next race is going to be Donington Park in the Ford KA. So yeah, got some good momentum for that. But yeah, thanks for watching the videos. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, all of that jazz, and we'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.